Emily here again. I wanted to do a video today about the crystal grids that I work with and kind of give you an idea as to what these are all about. Quite a few people don't know and have never heard of them before, so I thought that I would start out my videos with that. So if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla said that, and I don't know that he actually knew how right he was. Um, it's so intricate, our world, and the energy that flows within and without. And there are ways to be able to channel and harness that energy to help you um, manifest the wants and needs in your life. You can build a grid with any stones that you choose. Usually you'll want to have them the same color as the vibration for the manifestation that you're looking for. So green for growth and prosperity and success and money. Or rose quartz, which is pink, for attracting love, generosity, and kindness of the heart, and things like that. So you can put all of these together into a grid as big or as small as you choose. I have a grid here that I use, and the only reason that I am moving it is because I need to cleanse it and recharge the stones today. So I thought I would take this opportunity to share with you my grid that I have for success in my business. So first of all, we have a huge obelisk smoky quartz stone that I use for a big pointer stone in the middle. That generates a lot of the energy into a smaller beam, if you will, to be able to pull all of that energy together and use it as a huge conduit. So, and then I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had to count them. 8 points for amethyst. That's a really, really nice stone to use for helping to manifest, along with these really incredible stones that I found. Actually, my sister found them while we were down in Mermaid Imports in Anchorage. They are a Madagascar singing crystal. You can see it right there. It actually has a very unique sound to it, and I'll see if you can be able to hear it. It's a very high frequency tinging sound, and it's really a unique stone. So I wanted to try and use that today to build my grid and see where that takes me. But just to give you some information on the grids, like I said, they are as big or as small as you would like them. Mine just happens to be about this big. I actually made it myself, just using a glass top, so like a mason jar. And then they want you to be able to use like natural, the more natural the product, the better. So whatever your grid is on, whether it's cotton, wood, linen, things that are super natural there, and or natural based. And then I have a really awesome chunk of wood that was given to me by a friend. I was in her wedding this last summer, and it was absolutely beautiful. And then she gave it to me, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to make this work, and what I could use it for, because it has such a beautiful finish on it. Okay, I'll show it to you. It has such a beautiful finish on it, with such a wonderful design in it. That's of course natural. This is birch, and a chunk like this that's already made up like this is super highly sought after and very expensive up here. So something like this could probably go for, believe it or not, about $50, maybe somewhere around there, especially with all the work that's done on it already. So I didn't want the finish to get ruined on it, and so I didn't quite know exactly what I was going to do with it, and now I found the perfect setting for it. It works great for my office grid, and it's really beautiful. So put all together, it's very stunning. So to get into the grids, like I said, they can be any size. The possibilities are endless. The circumference of the energy that flows around it is actually larger than the grid that you build. The accumulation of energy between all of the stones and the outside of the grid circumference, right, around this outside, is actually quite large. It's way bigger than the outside of the grid. So regardless of what stones you use, you can add stones or you can take stones away, but your grid itself is going to be much larger. Your energy field is going to be much larger than the grid. So the bigger the stones, the more stones that you use, the color of the stones and the actual grid color. So this is green, which I wanted growth and prosperity and financial stability through my studio. So I used green to help accentuate that manifestation. So what you want to do is, you know, take some time to research the stones that you're looking for, the ones that are going to be closely adaptable to your the whatever it is that you want to manifest. So again, like rose quartz for love. You can use like labradorite is a very interesting stone. It can actually be used to manifest some super high energies in just about any color because there's actually quite a few colors that are within it. So this right here is a divining bowl, and it is made out of labradorite. It is from a friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, that is allowing me to borrow this to kind of play with for a few days or weeks by now. And the colors that are in it, so it's a very dark gray color, but there's a lot of green in it, and there's a lot of teal and aquamarine and blues, and then there's actually some gold and silver flecks in there, and it's a very stunning stone to work with. So this right here would be very powerful for just about any manifestation that you're looking for. So they can help bring love and abundance, wealth, prosperity, all of that into your life. And again, it's all just building with intention. So when you're putting your grid together, like I have found this piece of wood and I made the grid and handpicked and researched the stones that I used in this grid. They give you a lot of knowledge out there. So take your time to really find the stones that you're looking for that's really going to work well with the grid that you're looking to build. Do your research on the grids that are out there, and there's a ton of grids, and the type of grid that you use also plays a very key part in what you're trying to manifest. So I'm just kind of going through my notes here. You can also use them for healing intent. Like if you are a Reiki practitioner, then you can actually build grids on the floor. You can build grids on the tables. You can build grids anywhere you want. The biggest thing, the biggest catch, I guess, is to not put it somewhere where it's going to be disturbed. If you're going to use a small personal one that you are trying to, like, say, protect your home, you can put it somewhere, even in on a cupboard, on a side table, somewhere where it's not going to be disturbed. Even some people put them in their closet, up on the shelf or down on the floor underneath in a nook. You don't want it to be disturbed because the energy has actually been activated within the grid, and once it gets activated, you don't want to mess with that because it's already connected. They're already connected to each other. They're already starting to manifest what you're after. So you need to have kind of a sacred space for them so that they're quiet, calm, and not messed with. That doesn't mean that you want to ignore them, because after a few days, sometimes a few weeks, it just depends. You should have it up for somewhere upwards of 3 to 4 weeks plus. So if you've got it up for a few days and you just kind of feel like, oh, the energy just might not be there, don't even think about it. Just go and get it, cleanse it, recharge it, reactivate it, and then just let it sit. You want to be able to get that energy back flowing again, and recharging your crystals, because your crystals will actually lose energy. They are really great at manifesting, but they're just kind of like a really heavy duty battery, if you will. So if you let it go for too long, then it will lose its charge and might not be doing anything for you. So you want to make sure to maintain your crystals. That also means that try not to keep it in a dusty area. And if it does get dusty, again, don't even think about it. Go get them, clean them, put them all together again. And you do it all with intent. The whole point behind it is to do it with intent, just like a prayer. If you really are after something, or you really want, love or generosity, or you want, whether it's coming or going, and, say like you're giving a prayer, you want to say your prayer with intent. The same thing goes for building your grid. You want to make sure that when you're building your grid, picking your stones, making your whole setup, your little shrine, you want to make sure that you do everything with intent, all the way down to picking the color. It all means something, and putting that intention together in that grid will actually help really quadruple your chances of manifestation. And it's not really a chance either. Your universe just keeps working for you. It's the power of attraction. So back to the grids. It kind of starts out with the sacred geometry. If you want to know what that means, look at a sunflower. The spirals on the sunflower just pretty much go off into infinity, and they're all pretty much perfectly sized. The same with, I can't remember the name of the shell, but if you look at just about any shell, you can see the same thing with the rings. They get a little bigger, they get a little bigger, they get a little bigger, but they're all pretty much in the same distance away from each other. So it's that perfect symmetrical geometry at play. So the other way you can do it is you can you can cut an apple in half sideways, and you'll see a star. Same with star fruit. If you cut it sideways instead of peeling it down like a banana, you'll actually see those stars in there. Let's see, so star fruit. But if you want bigger, if you want to see something bigger than that, okay, that's just how the nature works. Well, it is just how nature works, but it's doing it for a specific reason. That's just the way that nature is to some of us, but there's a whole science base behind it. And without getting too much into the scientific part of it, if you want to see bigger proof, you can look at excuse me, the center top of Saturn. When the rings you can see all of the rings, and you're looking at the top of the planet. There's actually a pentagon on the top of the planet. Some people are very curious about what's going on there. According to scientists, it's 5 major storms that are twisting simultaneously in very close proximity from each other, and each one of them is made of a different chemical. And whatever that chemical is, of course, I'm not of a scientific brain, but it's pretty intriguing because we have found out back in the 70s, I believe, there was a scientist that actually correlated the vibration, the sound and vibration of sound, and the use of sand with that sound actually creates geometrical shapes with the sand almost instantly. So it kind of, makes you wonder what's going on with Saturn, because Saturn's rings actually omit a few different tones and sounds. So putting all of that together and really just kind of trying to break it down, it's a very interesting and fascinating thing that they've discovered. So that's bigger, but if you want to look at something even bigger than that, Um, Take a look at Venus. And if you look at it from Earth's point of view, in 8 years, it makes a perfect, beautiful flower shape. And it just keeps doing it over and over and over again. And that's huge. That's so huge. And so you kind of break all of that down a little bit, and geometric shapes are in, they're the base of everything, all the way down to cells. And anyway, so just to kind of give you some fun stuff there. Um, the main the main grid that usually everybody kind of starts out with is called the flower of life. It has a story as old as time itself. First being noticed in Egypt, like 479 BCE or something like that. It's pretty crazy. It's a very old geometric shape that was discovered. It contains the tetrahedron, the hexa, octa, dodeca, and isosahedron or icosahedron. I'm not sure how to say that, but anyway, all of those shapes are in there along with quite a few dozen others. Metatron's cube, Merkaba, the double Merkaba, and the 12-pointed star tetrahedron. It's just made up of circles. Like it's just constant. Here, I'll show you. So this right here is the book that I'm using today for reference. It's The Ultimate Guide to Crystal Grids by Judy Hall. She is very, very good at what she does. She really finds some amazing information that I'm sure all of us could find if we just took the time to do it. But thanks to her, I can make quite short work of it. So anyway, there's quite a few different grids in there that you can start with, and if you get online, you can actually look up and just look up crystal grids or crystal grid patterns, and then go into images, and you'll be able to pull up a bazillion different kinds of grids that you can choose from, as far as printing them out and putting them on your own cloth or your own piece of wood, or etching them into something, or even wood burning. So it's just kind of like an endless sea of ideas there. So let's see. So the Platonic solids, or the 5 perfect shapes, they're actually very unique. I have 7 here, and the ones that I just named off is actually what I have here. Plus I have a circle, which is over here, and then I have another one in there that is I haven't quite figured out what it is, but I think it's the 12-pointed star, the tetrahedron. So I've got to figure that out. But these I just got off of Amazon, and they're really, really neat. They are all like pretty clear crystal. Let's see if I can show you. So they're very, very clear, like almost like glass. But I have actually taken them to a stone lady here in town at Desert Passages in Fairbanks, and she actually confirmed that these were just solid, beautiful, clear crystals. So anyway, those are our basic geometrical shapes that everything is based off of. And so these are very, very sacred to me. They come in a beautiful little box, and I really, really, really take good care of these because they're just very sacred. So I'm actually going to build my grid today, working with some of those extra shapes. So let's see. Just want to make sure I've got everything. So each of the Platonic solids, or the 5 sacred shapes, they all have their own specific elements and qualities within each of them. So one is for air, water, and so forth. So if you're trying to, like as simple as going to, some of the Midwestern states, and you want to be able to get more rain because your crops are not doing all that great. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that actually use these grids to help manifest rain. And it seems like it's primitive, but it has a function to it, and it works. So anyway, it may seem silly, but it's really interesting, and there's a lot of history, both scientific and whimsical, if you will. This lady here, Crystal Grids by Hibiscus Moon, she is a scientist that actually works with with the school to teach science, and she actually brings a lot of these crystals into her class and works with people to show them and explain to them what all of this is about, and where she can actually pull in that science based information into her classroom, and it's been phenomenal. So I'm starting to follow a lot of what she's talking about. So you'll hear me jumping between a few different references, and just to be on the safe side, a lot of them will be from Judy Hall, and some of them will be from Hibiscus Moon. And then I have some other websites and stuff that I will rattle off if I'm using their references, just to be on the safe side. So anyway, that's kind of a quick, well, not really quick, 20-minute breakdown of the crystal grids that and what their functions are. And as I go through the other videos, I will kind of break down what stones you can use for what. And if you have any questions, please throw them into the comments. Subscribe, and I guess we'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye, my lovelies.